Welcome to the Council of Moms. Things were so busy this week, but next week I think that they might lighten up a bit. But it never happens.
No.
Because you know when you say that really earnestly and the person that you say it to just laughs? It's like their gut reaction.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, have I said that before?
Here comes the dumpster fire. Just watch. It's all about to implode.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Welcome to the Council of Moms. Welcome to the dumpster fire.
Yes.
Could implode at any moment or explode. Wait and see.
Oh my gosh, these are fun. We could do these all day. Welcome
know,
to the Council of Moms. We're here and we got pants on.
Yeah. I love that.
They might be stretchy, but they're on.
Yeah.
Oh, you bet.
They still count. Well, we're going to get into it. We've been waiting for this series on the Council of Moms for a while now. We've been hatching it up here on the Council of Moms. We're talking about issues relating to blending families, because we all know that making it up as you go as a mom is one thing. Making it up as you go under extraordinary circumstances is quite another thing. And also, it's never just one thing, is it, you guys? It's never just one thing. So I'm going to get right into our question. Can we talk about holidays and birthdays in a blended family? This feels way harder than it used to be. I want special occasions to be a time where we bond and grow together, but instead it feels like a minefield where everyone is extra sensitive or disappointed, including me, honestly. So how do we turn this around?
Okay.
Council of Moms, hit me.
I have the worst, best story ever. Can I just start?
Great.
Do you guys care?
Please.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Because I was not prepared for this. So we got married in July, August, September, October, November. Here we are at December. And we're putting up the Christmas tree. And they bring all of their decorations from downstairs up into the TV room. And now we're putting all the decorations on. And as they're doing it, the tree that they have is, and that they've always used, is a tree with ornaments that they have purchased every time they've gone somewhere. And homemade ornaments and ornaments from school. Like, I love a homey tree. It makes me so happy. And they open a box, and it's a box filled with ornaments that say my husband's name and his wife's name on it. Every year they're married. Jim and Michelle, Jim and Michelle. And the girls are like, look at this one. And they're putting it up on the tree, and I am slowly dying inside with every ornament. I'm like reminded that I'm wife number 2. This isn't my Christmas. I don't get to decorate a tree. And I am holding back the tears. I'm trying so hard not to cry, because it just never became more apparent than the fact that this is not my tree. And I wasn't prepared at all for that. Because in my mind, I'm like, we're going to decorate a tree and we're going to be a big happy family.
Yeah.
And so the very next day I was like, I'll show them. So I went out and bought my own tree, and I had it delivered to the house, and I went and bought my own ornaments, and I had the biggest, it's so embarrassing. We call it the Rockefeller Center tree. You could put a hot chocolate stand underneath it. It was so gigantic. We have 12-foot ceilings. We have big ceilings. So I bought the biggest, tallest tree you could imagine, and I did my own tree, and I'll show them. Yeah. I was such a brat about that. But, even my husband realized, and he's like, okay, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't even think about it. He'll tell the story with just the most love and compassion in his heart. Like, I didn't even realize that. And so we've since put those ornaments away, and they're saved for the girls if they want them when they're older. But I think at that moment I realized, okay, what are holidays going to look like for us? Because this is a family that already has built-in traditions.
It made you really face it earlier on.
Yes. So the only thing I could do was bring what I love. And so every year as a family, we go and volunteer at the homeless shelter. And that's what Mom Tammy can bring to the Hall family. And that's my tradition. So I think for us, we've tried to start new traditions that are grounded in what we do as a family. And we still try to incorporate the traditions that they've already existed. That's what's worked for us. But coming up with new ideas, new traditions, and then sticking with them, that's hard too. Like, oh yeah, we got to do this again this year. So
Yeah.
That's so important, though, Tammy. What you're saying, like making a new family. It's a new family. It is a new family. So we're creating like new tradition, new things. So we can incorporate things from each of our own families. But that outsider feeling of being an outsider is so, so real. And like, I don't think you realize how it's going to sting so bad until you feel it. That's hard. Another aspect I wanted to add was if you're co-parenting and sharing children between homes.
How do you do it?
Didn't realize how frustrating that was going to be. Like I was angry every holiday, every Christmas that we didn't have all the kids at our house. And like, I just didn't realize how infuriating that was going to be for me. Like, well, why can't we just, I can't do the traditions how we want to. And so reevaluating my expectations. I mean, we're 10 years into it now, and I'm finally like kind of okay with it.
Oh, wow.
But like, for example, I think it was last August, my stepson was gone for the whole month, but literally half of our family has a birthday in the month of August. And so I was like so bitter for that month because I was like, he's not here. He's not going to say anything to any of us. And like, it comes up over and over again. So it's just kind of thinking outside the box. What can we do to make this work? For Christmas specifically, because you brought the Christmas up, Tammy, in our family, when we didn't have him on Christmas Day, we decided that we were going to ask Santa to come on a different day so we could still have Christmas as a family, like open presents as a whole family in the morning. And so we just sent a special letter to Santa and said, can you come on this day instead when we're all going to be together? And it really is like getting outside of this idea that it has to be this day or it has to look this way. Just kind of thinking outside the box helped us a lot.
Oh, Brittany, I just have to point out that is such a good idea. Lisa and I have a friend in common. Her name's Emily Bell Freeman. And they don't even celebrate Christmas at Christmas time. They don't celebrate it until March because none of the family can be together. And they're all over the place. So they do put up a tree and then they take it down and then they put everything back up in March. And the whole family comes in and they have a wonderful celebration. And there's no blended family there. They've been nuclear since the beginning. And so I think it's important for us to know, like, any family can do this. It's not, oh, we're broken and we're blended, so we have to do this. Like, even nuclear families do it. So just embrace the different. And I like how you do that, Brittany. I think it's a great way to do Christmas, just a different day. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think you have to set up what's best for your individual situation. Something that I see as an outsider to blending families is that constant acceptance that you can't compare yourself to other people. You have to come to that, oh no, we're going to do what's best for our kids, our relationship, our family. And that's a lot harder, it seems, than it sounds.
Yeah, one thing I didn't anticipate and I didn't expect is because I figured that there would be a lot of stuff that went on within the home that would be complicated and that would be difficult. But it was all these extended relationships that you have to maintain around the holidays as well, or special events that can make it really tricky. And trying to be sensitive to everybody's feelings.
That's such a good
love
point.
your kids. It was more than I anticipated. Like, how do you incorporate all the grandparents or all the aunts and all the uncles and try to upkeep on all these other extended relationships that are impacting your family? And so,
how do you? I'm thinking of your situation, Liz, as a widow, and you have your late husband's family who love their grandchildren, and then you've got your husband's late wife's family too who love and you want to include everyone and their parents. It's a lot of people. That's a lot of pressure already around a high pressure situation.
Oh, for sure.
What have you learned?
Just to extend a lot of grace to everybody. Honestly, because we have 5 sets of grandparents.
Disappear.
I kind of do. You know, there are times where I'm like, oh, if it was just us, it would be so much easier. But you really have all these other extended people that love your people, and you're trying to figure out how do we all fit with one another around these traditional events, and you have a non-traditional situation. Yeah, like you said, widow, widower, we have 8 kids. So, and we have 5 sets of grandparents and way too many aunts and uncles, but it's all great. Like, you know, it is great, but do all the grandparents like acknowledge all these kids as grandchildren, or do they not? Some of them all take time. Like, yeah, like my dad is a really sweet guy. He means well, but he's also one that's not actively participating and engaged. So he'll probably send my biological children birthday cards and Christmas cards, but he won't think about my husband's children. And so like that can be difficult. And then you also have great grandparents that send stuff to the kids.
I didn't
And
even
you're
think
like,
about
do you,
that.
like you can't put like all this pressure on them to include everybody, you know? And so it's really tricky on how to even the playing field. So when you're talking about it being a minefield, like that's no joke. Like, it really is.
Well, you're coming up on your first sort of like holiday season. How are you entering it? Do you just say grace, grace, grace? Give everyone grace? Or what do you do?
Oh man. Okay, so I was going to be that student that aced blending, okay? Like my undergrad is in family science. I have been studying blended families for a hot minute. Like I had all these ideas of how I was going to ace blending and get my family all blended, right? And so I knew about insider outsider dynamics. I knew about loyalty conflicts, like all the different things, okay? I had studied this. I'm like, oh yeah, Gestalt field theory, you know, that's way more better than the traditional blended family systems theory. Okay, I was going to do it all, right? I know nothing. I know nothing.
Oh, no, Liz, no.
I do know that we need to create our own traditions, but I go into like every birthday, which I've now done a few. I've done like big family transitions, you know, and I just am like, did I forget anybody to send out the invite to? How do I include everyone? And somehow I feel like I'm still screwing it all up. And I'm like, you know, it's fine. That's why I'm like, I think we just have to extend grace everywhere, because I'm like, I'm not going to be the mom that I thought I would be, right? And I never did big birthdays for my biological children, but like now I'm doing them for 8 children. So you're running hard for 8. And so it's just like trying to upkeep that. That's why I'm like, you just extend grace and pieces fall where they fall and we'll figure it out together. As far as Christmas goes, I don't know. Santa comes at some point. And whether we watch Elf or not, I don't know. But by goodness, there will be hot chocolate at some point.
Absolutely. That's
Well
so
said.
good.
I think one secret, a hidden gift of blending families is it helps you really prioritize what really matters, because you can't do all the things. You can't be juggling all the balls anymore, like you're saying, Liz. You're going to have to let some things go. So it's like prioritizing, like how much time can we give to extended family members? What can we do for birthdays? Like, or whatever it is, like, what am I capable and like
What's
what
reasonable?
really
Yeah.
matters? Yeah. What really matters to me, and then doing those things. And then anything else is just kind of a bonus, but it really helps you focus in, like laser focus in on what matters.
I imagine, you know, that the element of the question that, you know, everyone's feeling emotional and there's all these expectations, but at the end of the question is this, like, everyone's extra sensitive or disappointed, including me. How, you know, and I always think, you know, who takes care of the moms, right? Like, who gives the moms a little extra grace and help and comfort in a stressful times when, you know, you have these sort of grief bombs go off, especially like during special occasions or significant days. How do you guys handle that?
We have all these families that were once created, right? And they go through a family transition that is kind of an adverse experience, right? And whether it's a divorce or a death of some kind, that now impacts like all your future positive experiences, like birthdays and all these other family transitions, weddings, all that stuff. I didn't realize how much that played a role into it. And so like making sure that you get your self-care in before the new event, I think is so huge. But I don't know, like who takes care of mom? It's like, I guess we do, right? Like, let's just add that onto the plate too. But other than that, I'm like, talking to my husband about things and being like, okay, this is coming up. What's our game plan? How are we going to tackle this? Like, that's the next best
If I
thing.
need to tap out for a minute, do you do you cover things, or, you know, that kind of questioning?
I married my husband before he hit the first year mark. So I married into the year of firsts. which is the hardest year for anyone.
Wow.
And so we had to hit all these holidays and markers together. And I remember when we hit the marker of the year of her death of her anniversary. And that was so emotional for everybody. And Michelle's entire family was getting together at the cemetery where they were going to let off balloons and be together to mark the year that she had been deceased. And I knew I didn't belong. That just wasn't something I could do. I just felt like maybe I shouldn't go. So I just said, you three go. I made sure they had flowers to take to the cemetery. And all the girls took flowers down. And I remember saying goodbye to them. And as they pulled out of the driveway, I just lost it. I was sobbing. And I couldn't figure out why I was crying so hard. And I called my very best friend because I was driving up to her house to meet her. And I'm crying. And she helped me realize that the reason that I'm sad is they're grieving the loss of their dream. And I'm grieving the loss of mine. Yes. Like, I had to grieve the loss of being a first-time mom. And I was going to get married at 18 and put my husband through medical school while I raised 12 kids. That didn't happen. And now here I am in this weird situation that nothing in my life prepared. I thought at the time nothing in my life prepared me for. And then I realized everything in my life prepared me for this moment. And so allowing myself to grieve the loss of what I thought I was going to have really helped me. And so when you talk about who takes care of mom, it's mom. I'm the only one who can take care of me. I have the best friends in the world. I have a wonderful husband, all of that, but it doesn't matter as long as I'm putting myself first. And so allowing myself to grieve the loss of what I thought I was going to have is probably one of the healthiest things I could have done for me that day. And then I realized, oh yeah, that's why I'm sad. We're both grieving the loss of the dream. And now it's a new dream. What's it going to look like from here on out? And, sometimes it's a nightmare. Sometimes I just don't like it at all. It's the worst. And that's okay too. You got to be able to say that. Because I was all sing-songy when I married into it, everything's great. Yeah, it's not. It's no thanks. It is really, really hard. But yeah, I think moms take care of moms.
Wow.
I think that's so important to acknowledge the grieving because there is grief for every single member of the family. Even if you're bringing new kids into it, I feel like there's almost a grief there too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're outsiders, right?
Yeah.
They're
my two girls
to
we
all that
had.
is history. Yeah.
Yeah, the two they had to marry into, they're grieving the loss of what they see their friends having as a normal family. And they have to deal with revisionist history on the part of the siblings who are alive. And they're like, did that really happen? I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah, they have to grieve that.
Yeah, and big, complicated feelings that come up. As we're talking about Christmas, it's bringing things to my memory. But one of our kids gets a really big Christmas at 2 different houses and at a grandparent's house. And then there's feelings of jealousy and why does he get all these big things or these all traveling the world or doing all these things? And that's complicated. I have feelings about that sometimes. So how do I
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
My trip.
Right?
I want to travel too. So, to talk with your kids about why that's happening and how it's okay to feel those big feelings that they're feeling. And I think that's a huge part of blending is just let's talk about the hard things. Let's talk about the hard feelings and the awkwardness and the yeah, this is hard. This is hard stuff.
It's interesting in talking to other people who, in anticipation for this council, other people who've had to blend families. I think I had this idea probably because I'm in this position of being widowed and, I may be blending a family someday. This is not an announcement. Liz is like, wait, what? No. I mean, just the idea. We're keeping hope alive.
You
sure.
bet we are.
Okay. Maybe not this week, but maybe next week. Anywho. I had this idea in my head, I think a lot of people do of, oh, well, this will be easier for me because my kids are older. I only have one at home or I only have adult kids. I have been blown away by talking to my adult friends whose parents remarried when they were adults or had older kids and how difficult this still is. It was shocking to me and has really humbled me of of oh, no one escapes the hardness of that. I'm wondering if you have a perspective of that as kids get older or as adults.
My parents divorced when I was older, and so I got to experience it as an adult child. And it was interesting to see that I still had expectations, or I had thoughts on how things should be, or I have feelings on how my parents should interact with my children and like how much time they should give.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just super interesting. And it's like, nope, I think older kids keep tallies more than youngers. Which is
More rigid.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically, I said
They know where the money is going, Lisa.
right.
They know. They know every
They're
dollar.
like, wait a second. They do. And they compare.
The compare
more,
and
and
despair.
they talk openly. And even I just said hypothetically to my kids, like I like to tease them, like, well, your new stepdad Kevin's not going to like that, or like I just make it like up. I change his name every time because he's fictitious, and it's joke. But then like one of my kids is like, yeah, but for real, they're not invited Christmas morning. Yeah, but for real, when we go get pumpkins and we do this family tradition, like I don't care who you date or what you do is your business. But when and I just thought, ooh, it changed the way that I thought of acknowledging expectations that we have even before there is a real situation. Mm-hmm. Is there something that we can do to make that easier on each other, or is there any way to like change
We're still
our
doing
culture?
therapy.
Do you know what I mean? Like even the way we talk about blended families, just as a larger culture, is that helpful?
I want to add though that I think we always think we're the exception. Like it's all like even when I got married, I was like, oh, this will be easy for us because I was a school teacher. I know how to get along with kids. Our kids are really young, so they're going to be like changing easily. We only have 2 kids. Like I thought for sure this was going to be a breeze because we all got along before we got married too. Nope.
No one escapes it, Brittany, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. But I think like if we can lower our expectations and like, I mean, people told me it would be hard. I couldn't understand why it was going to be hard until I was doing it. I physically couldn't comprehend. I tried to, like, what's it like to co-parent with this person? I don't know. Like, I don't know. What's it like to have a child that hates you? I don't know until it happens. Right. And so just kind of lowering your expectations, being really open-minded, I think is the best thing you can do as you move forward. And it's hard.
And also as a mom, like knowing that your kids are going to be disappointed, like, and they're going to have to go through hard things, and just having to allow that to happen and be like, oh, I'm sorry, but we all have to make sacrifices. Yeah. And it's okay.
It's okay for it to be difficult. Yeah.
But it's so hard, like, because you don't want your kids to be disappointed or to be hurt. And it's like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
We all
I do have to say, though, I have to, like, add this in that I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm never going to get married till my kids are grown up, or I'm not going to do that to anyone because that's just too much. It's too much on my kids. It's too hard. Kids come first always. And I hear that over and over again from people. And I actually, like in my situation, yes, it was super hard. It was hard on all of us. But I think it was so good for every single one of us, too. That even though it was so difficult and trying, and like we almost got divorced. Don't
sugarcoat it, Brittany. Don't stop sugarcoating it.
We all question our life choices and decisions.
But that's a regular Tuesday for me. I mean, bring it on.
But through all of that, like we are all so much better because of each other and because we learned how to figure it out. Like we experimented and we tried and we did hard things, and now we're like, my kids, my 2 oldest, the ones that we brought in, they don't even fight ever with each other. And I'm like, that's not even normal for like a nuclear family. Like this is beautiful how this is. That doesn't happen all the time, but it did for our family with those 2. So
I love that. Allowing for the possibility.
Yeah, and I think it does make your family and kids way more resilient. Because my kids now, the ones we had together, are teenagers. And I've even used this line with the older two I married into. But when they are in a situation that's really hard for them and they're just not sure how they're going to do it, I remind them, you've already done hard. You're in a blended family. Like, let's just sit with that for a minute. So whatever it is you're going through right now, piece of cake. And I think it really does make for resilient kids, resilient human beings, being put in a situation that is that emotionally difficult. So Lisa, your kids are already pretty resilient. Let's not kid ourselves. So when you marry in, you're going to remind them, you guys, you've already done hard. You buried your dad.
Yeah.
So we can do this.
Been through all the
You
things.
have, for sure.
I appreciate the hopeful way that we've ended this conversation about what can be a tricky time without sugarcoating it. I really do think that this is one of the strengths of the Council of Moms. And I would also encourage those who are listening who are thinking, yeah, I need to talk about this, to create your own Council of Moms. See, this is why it's so important for us to, as women especially, to reach out to people with different life experiences and in different situations, because we realize how much we have in common and we can kind of help each other on different paths, parts in the path of life that we're doing. So thank you for being a part of this. Tammy, Liz, Brittany, it was a pleasure.